I guess everybody's already rise.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the Board of Supervisors meeting, February 15th, 2022. Is there any changes to the agenda, gentlemen? Okay, we shall move on. Meet with department heads and then elected officials. Sarah Doty, payroll clerk.
Good morning. Just keep them busy as normal. Nothing new to report.
Okay, thank you. Lee Schaefer, county attorney.
Grinded. Oh, we had an armed robbery last week, had a shooting this morning, so I anticipate we may be over our famine for a little bit.
Yeah.
Busy in a whole different way than we were with COVID.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. Volunteers, IT.
Just keeping busy like we always are. Don't really have anything new to report, so working on projects.
Okay, thank you. Kevin Glendenning, our sheriff.
Good morning. No major news from the sheriff's office. Jail population's still doing good. We're at 65. 5 of those are out of county though. 1 being an adult, the other 4 juveniles, 2 from that armed robbery last week. So that took us up to 4. So we actually only have 60 in our jail, but unfortunately the 1 is a conflict in our jail and then the other 4 juveniles. So.
Okay, thanks, Kevin.
Yep.
Terry Johnson, county auditor.
Good morning, just staying busy.
That's it. Keep busy.
You know, I could go into elections, but that's a whole nother
Yeah.
thing.
How about Cheryl with the budget director?
I've got a couple agenda items in
Okay.
the work session.
Thank you. Zach, the Southeast Regional
Yeah,
Planning.
we've got a few agenda items today. Other than that, yeah, just staying busy, got a couple subdivisions, potential subdivisions, I guess, maybe, kind of in the works, but, yeah, plenty of agenda items today to get through.
Jared, you got anything to add to that?
Plenty of stuff to go today.
Okay, thank you. Chris,
Well, I said it all, so.
said it all. Okay. Thank you. Ken Hyman, Southeast Iowa Regional Link.
Great. Keep it busy, just helping people and doing the best we can. Nothing new to report right now.
Okay, thank you. Janelle Longquist, County Treasurer.
Good morning. We're keeping busy. We're getting a lot of the 2022 Iowa property tax credit claims back in, or better known as the elderly or disabled credit. The Department of Revenue did throw in another eligibility factor. So I guess I would encourage, and that's for any person that's 70 years old or older. I would encourage anyone who maybe wasn't eligible in the past to contact our office to see what they might be able to be eligible for, or if they're eligible over this 70-year age eligibility requirement, where they may not have been eligible before. It may help them going further.
Good, thank you.
Well,
Rodney.
and that just tolls it, so,
Yeah.
yeah, so it tolls it, so only if they really can't pay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a new, like I said, it's a new
You
eligibility.
have to prove then you can't pay.
No, there's some other stuff
Oh.
in the house right now
Yeah.
that goes along with this, but just have them call if anybody has questions.
Rodney Blazer, maintenance.
Good morning, just really busy preparing for the weather we're gonna be having here later this week, and got a couple agenda items.
Okay, thank you. Chris, conservation.
Good morning. Couple things. Got an agenda item today, working on that grant that will supplement that. And then our Nature Center staff has brought back the Hiker Park series. So this is once a month or every couple weeks. They're going out to different parks and just doing afternoon hikes out in different parks. This year, we're actually partnering with Eliza County and Lee County, and we're going out to some of their parks as well. So we're really kind of hitting it regionally, going out and introducing people to places they might never have seen. On the legislative front, been dealing with a lot of that. There's been a lot of correspondence going back and forth regarding a couple bills specifically that are in the Senate. One of which is the tax reform bill, and forgive me, I don't remember the numbers, and they change pretty regularly anyway, but in the Senate's version of the tax reform bill, it does have a sales tax increase, which would automatically trigger funding the Natural Resources and Outdoor Recreation Trust Fund with 3/8 of a cent sales tax, which would generate, today's estimates are about $220 million for soil and water conservation, improvements, trails, water quality, lake restoration, a lot of different things. Would fully fund REAP, and so the Iowa Association of County Conservation Boards certainly is in support of that. Now, the rest of that bill, I'm not necessarily weighing in on. Personally, there's some aspects of the Senate bill that I'm not exactly real thrilled of. So who knows how that'll shake out, but we're watching that close. I know the House and the governor both have their own separate bills, tax reform bills, floating around out there that those will have to get reconciled before it's all said and done. So, but our industry is hopeful that funding the trust is included in that. Another one that's in the Senate right now, I believe it goes to the committee hearing tomorrow, is a bill that would restrict the amount that DNR or county conservation could pay for a land acquisition. And basically it uses a prorated percentage based on an estimated value developed by, I don't know what entity it is that comes up with these estimates, but depending on the ag quality of the land, it would restrict how much you could pay for it. So the higher quality, from an ag perspective, the land is, the less we could pay. I think it goes down to 65% of the estimated value for the highest quality farmland, up to, I think, 85 or 95% for essentially non-tillable. And so we're watching that real close. Our association certainly is opposed to that. We feel that those decisions ought to be made locally and not mandated by the state. As you know, state mandating things is never really bodes well for us here at the local level. So on a number of fronts, we're certainly watching that and hoping that doesn't need to make it out of committee. So lots going on up in Des Moines, and 'tis the time of year, I guess. So,
Okay, thanks, Chris. Brian Carter, Secondary Roads.
Good morning. Would mention that the guys are out plowing on the paved roads Sunday morning. If you didn't leave your house till midday, you probably didn't even realize that we got much for snow, but we had enough just to be kind of a pain, really. Barely enough to plow, really. So thanks to the guys for coming out. It's unexpected, I would have to say. They were talking to some flurries, but ended up being anywhere from a ½ inch to an inch, although the further south you went, it kind of disappeared. So, so we did that, and guys are ready, I think, for whatever happens to occur Wednesday and Thursday. Seems to be a mixed bag and up in the air. So otherwise, just cutting trees and doing some patching and stuff like that. So I want to mention that we do have 2 projects out for bid. The one which was, I came around and got your signatures on that cover sheet. Thanks for making your schedules work Friday for that. That's for the pretty small, really, gravel road regrading job just north of Burlington on 115. So that's out. That's a local bid in early March. Then the other, and it's not out for bid yet, I guess I really misspoke, but the other would be the Dry Branch Bridge, an early grading and the bridge project. That would the DOT's May letting. So, so a couple things coming with a lot of work behind them. Take a lot of time to get to that point. So we'll see how all that goes.
I see some on old Highway 34 there outside of Middletown.
Okay.
Got some flags marking out there. They're gonna do some work underneath, culvert work under that highway.
I have to believe what you're seeing is probably a utility looking at a project, or perhaps I'd have to look through our permits. There's been a ton of utility permits in the last couple of years. So, or maybe Alliant didn't get done with their project that they were working on last summer. I'm not sure. I will tell you it's not us. But it could be any number of things when you start seeing flags. So let me know if you see any activity though out there, because Middletown has a bit of a history of doing things without communicating with us on that road, so. But I'm not aware of anything, but again, there's probably a utility permit for something, as many as we've dealt with, and there's been a lot of big ones. Right now throughout the county, ITC is out doing major transmission line upgrades. So, if you find problems, especially as we warm up, what you're gonna see is they're fairly oblivious to how it impacts people when they drag a bunch of mud out on the road. We had a pretty blunt conversation with them, I did actually, last Friday, in a spot. So if anybody's out there and finds something like that, don't hesitate to reach out to us, because it's probably something we haven't seen. And they go to a site and it's frozen, they leave the site and it's muddy, and they don't care, it's the end of the day, so they just take off and go, and you've got mud for a quarter mile down the road kind of a thing. So that's kind of the nature of it at the moment, and we try to go after them and make them pay for rock when that kind of thing happens. We're in the middle of that conversation right now. So, but anyway.
I had to follow one of your plow trucks on my way to church on Sunday.
Anything to keep you safe.
You couldn't pass them, man. It was just a white out behind him. I was almost late. So
It was, I followed one all the way down 99, and it was exactly what you're describing. It was such a light, fluffy snow. You almost couldn't plow it, really. I mean, you're kind of blowing it up in the air, and then it doesn't come back down, and it falls. You know, most of our guys would tell you they'd rather plow 3 inches of snow than a ½ inch to an inch, because you feel like you're wasting time, but you gotta be there, so.
Thanks, Brian. Angie, Health and Safety Department.
Good morning. We're keeping busy, but really nothing major to discuss, so.
Okay, thank you. Natalie, how's the recorder's office?
Good morning. Recorder's office is good, just business as usual.
Okay, thank you. Did I miss anybody? Nope, okay. Moving on to correspondence, we have some correspondence here. Do you gentlemen have any correspondence?
I did. It might be the correspondence you mentioned. I received another email about making the county a Second Amendment sanctuary city from Matt Zerbe, and I'm sure you guys got that. I've received several requests about this. Matter of fact, as I recall, a few weeks ago, I read one into correspondence, and Mr. Zerbe included a copy of the resolution that's going around. I believe there's 34 or 35 Iowa counties that have signed on to this anyway. I support this. I've received several of these requests, and the board regularly issues proclamations, and this is for the Second Amendment, second article of the Bill of Rights. So it's up to me. I'll put it on the agenda to vote next week.
I agree with you 100% on that.
Okay.
I've got the same email, and that's my feeling on it too. I don't know about Shane, but
I just think you guys should be ashamed of yourselves, but just playing. No, I talked to John Jackson, was it, that you gave me his number yesterday, they called? Yeah, I spoke with them yesterday too, and he was very glad to know that there was some support. I can't speak for the other supervisors, I said, but I'm pretty sure Tom likes to carry just for the fun of it. I said, and Jim, you know, he's down.
yes, as a matter of fact, this is what it is. It says, we the citizens of Des Moines County, Iowa, ask the Des Moines County Board of Supervisors to consider the following resolution. Resolution declaring Des Moines County to be a Second Amendment sanctuary county. Whereas the right of the people to keep and bear arms is guaranteed as an individual right under the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution. A well-regulated militant being necessary to secure the free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And whereas the right of the people to keep and bear arms for the defense of life, liberty, and property and regarded as a right by the people of Des Moines County, and whereas the people of Des Moines County derive economic benefits from all safe forms of firearms, recreation, hunting, and shooting conducted within Des Moines County using all types of firearms, allowable under the United States Constitution and the law of the state of Iowa. And whereas the Des Moines County Board of Supervisors was elected to represent the citizens of Des Moines County and have sworn by their oath of office to uphold the United States Constitution and the Constitution of the state of Iowa, and whereas Iowa state senators and state representatives have also sworn by their oath in office to uphold the United States Constitution and the Constitution of the state of Iowa, and whereas legislation is currently being considered and expected to be proposed by both the Iowa State Legislature and federal legislature that potentially seeks to infringe on the protected rights of citizens to keep and bear arms, and whereas it is desired to declare that Des Moines County is a Second Amendment sanctuary county, as Des Moines County opposes the enactment of any legislation that would infringe upon the constitutional rights of the people of Des Moines County to keep and bear arms. Now therefore be it resolved, now, that the Des Moines County Board of Supervisors hereby declares Des Moines County to be a Second Amendment sanctuary county, and hereby states its opposition of any legislation that would infringe upon the constitutional rights of the people of Des Moines County and bear arms. This comes with several signatures, a petition and everything. And Tom, I think you're right. We put this on for vote next week.
Get that.
She'll put the receipt in. Too much coffee this morning, it's getting me loose stuff here. Okay, move on to discussion and vote. We have accounts payable. Excuse me, there's no back look for that. Accounts payable in the amount of $531,257.35.
Move to approve.
Second.
Sarah?
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Tom Roker,
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes.
I hope you brought a sandwich box. This meeting might take a little.
Okay, we have a public hearing for subdivision ordinance number 29.
Motion to open public hearing.
Second.
Sarah?
Tom Roker,
Yes.
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes. Zach, you wanna go over this?
Yeah, I can go over a few things here, and I'll have Jared maybe touch on a couple little things too, but,
I'll tell
I
you
know we've
what,
been,
if you wanna read this, why it'd be quicker.
I would prefer not to read it again if possible.
Amen.
Delegate that to Jared.
But yeah, we've been working on, not just this ordinance, but the next two as well for almost 2 years, a little over 2 years.
Yeah.
Majority of the things we're looking to do is just update, some minor things in the way the language is in the ordinances, fix, just some outdated things that don't reflect practices that have been done, and just make it a little clearer and easier to understand some of the things that are in there. I don't have a ton of specifics. We went through the work sessions and I think went through it in pretty good detail and I think answered most of the questions you have. And there's a few changes that are in the memo there that we did address after the work sessions. And that's, if you want, I can have Jared kind of touch on that if you'd like.
I think we had a bias toward less restrictive than more restrictive.
Yeah, so we adjusted a few things. Some of them are just some tweaks in the way the language was, but there was a couple things that yeah, tried to make things a little less restrictive. Yeah, I think the biggest change in there was the wording on the fence regulation that we had a pretty lengthy discussion about, so we.
Well, there was also the removal of the prime ag
Well,
regulation.
yeah, and then that goes back to the end of the zoning ordinance as well, so.
Well, actually, that was primarily the subdivision ordinance, yeah, because it's in terms of whether you take a 20-acre parcel of land with a CSR over a certain value and split it up, and so that's been taken out.
Yep. So we removed that in both ordinances, but as Jared said, yeah, most of it was here in the subdivision ordinance, so. Other than that, yeah, I don't necessarily have anything else to mention.
Well, I'm glad we had these workstations over, because it sure enlightened us on what was going on, so.
Shane and I are glad they're over.
Yeah.
Jared and I are also glad. It was a lot of work.
A lot of work.
Well, a lot of work to get to that point, not a lot of work to get through the work sessions too. So.
We've been through several sessions over the last couple of years with the zoning commission where they've provided their input and they've evaluated some changes accordingly there, so it's been, and like I said, a lot of the stuff that we didn't really touch on in the work sessions, there's a lot of changes in there that are minor and really just related to formatting and making sure that it's easier to follow, because when you first look at that thing, there's a number of things that just aren't clear, and then after you've read it like 3 or 4 times, finally it clicks, like, oh, that's what they meant. Well, I can word that better. Yeah. So there's a number of situations where just moving stuff around or just rewording it slightly makes a world of difference in terms of the average person being able to read this, let alone the administrators looking at it 20 years later trying to decipher what the intent of something was. So. For subdivision specifically, a lot of work was done specifically to streamline how the process is described in terms of when someone submits a preliminary plat, if necessary, and then a final plat, because the ordinance had subsequently been amended to add the minor subdivision, which constitutes the vast majority of subdivisions we process, but that doesn't even require a preliminary plat, and it's sort of just, you'd read along to that whole section before it even mentions what a minor subdivision is, and it's by then you've gone through a bunch of stuff that doesn't even make any difference for that, because it's not required. So then also coming up with that category of a standard subdivision to refer to any instance where it's more than 3 lots, but at the same time doesn't involve any new utilities or roads, so it would just be a zoning commissioner reviews the final and then make the recommendation from there. So it's kind of a hybrid between the two. So it's cleaning up the process for how each one of those is regulated, and how an applicant would go about through that process, all the way from submittal to approval to recording, and if it involves multi-phase, moving on to the next step. And then of course there were a number of changes in terms of the design and utility, road, fencing, all the provisions that must be taken into account when you're doing a subdivision as well, so making that clearer going forward.
Jared, God bless you. You know, I could just see you getting into it, man. This guy just goes into his own world with that stuff, doesn't he? God bless you. God bless you.
We've pretty much done on that. We're kind of here to listen to public comment.
Do we have any comments on that from the public? Seeing none, need a motion to close session.
Motion to close or motion to go back into, go out of closed session, not closed session, motion to end the public hearing.
Whichever one it is, I second it.
I've lost track of what we're doing.
Don't listen to me, I said.
No, I wasn't.
I second. Going out of it.
Sorry.
Tom Brooker,
Yes.
Jim Campbell,
Yes, please.
Jim Carrey.
Yes. Okay, gentlemen, we need a motion.
Motion to approve the subdivision ordinance 29. Or we gotta have how many sessions? 3?
At least 2.
Okay.
Well, you can do 2 and waive the 3rd one, but
Okay.
yeah, you'll have another reading next week.
Motion to open public hearing for the zoning ordinance 34.
Should we go ahead and stamp these, approve, or I
Yes,
mean?
you can stamp the front side with your proof stamp that you approved today's.
Okay.
Then we need a vote to approve.
motion to,
Don't do it
Approved.
at the top where the recording information needs to go.
There?
Yes. Here, I got you.
Natalie, get them.
Here you go.
put the Iowa code right
Tom,
up
we
there.
need it.
What?
See what it says.
There's your second copy. I got your back, Jim.
Where do you want this? Right there?
Down there.
Down at the bottom.
Right there?
I've got a motion to approve the first reading.
Second.
Sarah?
Tom Broker?
Yes.
Shane McCampbell?
Yes.
Jim Carrey?
Yes.
Just don't tread on Natalie's face.
Oh, I did it the same place.
He did too, I thought you were playing.
Somebody retype those.
We'll get a new one after.
We'll get one, we'll get one.
Set it aside.
Did you bring a copy by any chance, Gary?
Coming out of your salary, Jim.
We'll get one.
Might as well do it a third time.
Third time's a charm, right?
They're gonna write you about this.
I know it.
I think that's gonna be in the newspaper tomorrow.
They put a camera out.
Got him. Motion to open a public hearing for zoning ordinance number 34.
Second.
Sarah?
Tom Broker?
Yes.
Shane McCampbell?
Yes.
And Jim Carrey?
Yes.
First, I'm just gonna let you know, you need to stamp towards the bottom. Get that placed on there.
I have one copy over here, but not two.
I don't necessarily have anything to add for what I said a minute ago, just in general about all the ordinances. Like I said, in the memo, there's some of the things we modified after the work sessions. If you want us to touch on any of those, we can, but, otherwise, I don't necessarily have anything else to add at this point.
Okay. Jared, do you have anything to add?
Well, I mean, this one is 80 pages, well, 70 pages, so I think maybe a little bit of attention should be.
Come on, baby, come on! Come on, take 5 points,
Yeah,
come
we'll
on,
get out of
come on! Come on, Jared. Come on.
Well, I mean, there's, in terms of the zoning districts, this does involve some adjustments to the zoning map itself. So there's, a lot of those are either switching between agriculture and residential, either switching one way or the other, based on where it's located, what the roads serving that area are, whether it's like a paved highway or a gravel road. There's a few specific instances where the zoning was changed, looking at commercial or industrial based on what's there now. There's an old quarry no longer used south of town as an example of that. We did add a new district, R1A. There's the R1 single-family residential, the 1A specifically referring to the area on Tama Road north of town, where it's the way that was initially developed. The floodplain regulations largely restrict any new development specifically right along the river and the levee there. But, since that had been zoned agricultural all along, to discourage additional development, since then the floodplain restrictions have been strengthened to the point where it seems silly to not have it zoned as what the predominant land use pattern in the area. However, we have got a lot of interest in from people that want to have those freestanding garages that are on property near the river cabin, and so we feel it's appropriate to have a district specifically for that, as opposed to allowing those in any residential district where it's just a garage and that's the only building on the contiguous property. Then also we removed the conservation district, which was originally established primarily looking at the area around Stars Cave, where it's privately owned, to try to control development in the sensitive environmental floodplain area there. Again, this is another example where the floodplain regulations have since been strengthened to the point where the Flint Creek floodway there is essentially, you can't build anything new there in accordance with the FEMA floodplain regulations. Whereas there are also some areas that are on the same actual physical property, but on higher ground that conceivably could be developed where it seems unreasonable to outright prohibit any new development as the conservation district does. So that would be eliminated. We've streamlined and some of the regulations specific to topics like home occupations. Like for instance, that was an instance where we determined that when it originally referenced the zoning commission and the original ordinance, that it's pretty clear that the intention was to have that overseen by the Board of Adjustment as a special use, as opposed to going to the zoning commission, which is only supposed to be an advisory body for this board. We streamlined the planned unit development regulations so that if there were to be a development where we encourage more flexibility in terms of the density and how it's laid out, that opportunity be taken, since we've had that on the books for years, but it's never been utilized, and possibly there may have been opportunities where it would have made sense to do so, but was not. Those are just some of the more significant changes, but again, overall, just like the subdivision ordinance, a lot of it was just streamlining the order, the wording. We adjusted some of the definitions too to make it clear what's supposed to apply when a certain terminology is used. So.
Okay, thanks, Sharon. Do you have any public comment on that? Seeing none.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Sarah?
Tom Brooker,
Yes.
Shane McCampbell,
Yes, please.
Jim Carrey.
Yes. Natalie, look at this.
Motion to approve the first public reading of zoning ordinance number 34.
Second.
Tom Brooker,
Too early.
Yes.
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Hey, I gave you a pep talk before this.
Jim woke up ready this morning. He just woke up ready, all right?
Can I make a comment? Jared, no offense, we've had all the work sessions, this has been published, this is for if people come and ask questions,
Right.
or just public comment. We don't wanna be here all day on
Okay.
the agenda.
I could have gone on much longer.
I'm confident that you're good.
The guy's for
That's what I wanna guard against. No offense.
Okay, we need to open up.
I motion that we open a public hearing for airport approach regulation ordinance number 58.
Second.
Sarah?
Shane McCampbell,
Yep.
Tom Brooker.
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes. Comment?
Did I say yes?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you all said yes. Just real quick, this was the request from Southeast Iowa Regional Airport to look into adopting these regulations, not just for Des Moines County, but Burlington and West Burlington also. As a way to try and address some land use threats around the airport that might impact some funding or operations and things like that. Sarah Sandberg from the airport is here. I don't know if she wants to say anything or not, but again, we went through the work sessions. I think we covered everything. Try to address any questions or comments, and ordinance is there to help ensure land use around the airport doesn't impact what they're trying to do out there. So.
Main thing is we really want to watch out for public safety, and in doing these ordinances will help us do that. So.
Thank you.
Any public comment? Anybody else? Seeing none?
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Sarah?
Tom Brooker,
Yes.
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes.
Move that we approve the first public reading for the airport approach regulations ordinance number 58.
Second.
Sarah?
Shane McCampbell,
Yep.
Tom Brooker,
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes. We have a construction management agreement with Carly Nelson Company. I've read this twice, and I don't have the education that our county attorney has, but I'm learning a lot by reading all this agreement on this, so.
Did you read that AIA agreement?
Twice.
I was a contractor for decades, and I've probably never read entirely through one of those more than twice. Congratulations.
Yeah, but don't ask me if I understand it.
Part of that's whether, I don't think it was meant to be understood by.
Those usually just have some fill in the blank spots, so most of it's already
Yeah.
set up
Yeah.
and you just kind of fill in certain things, so.
I thought it looked clear, and I spoke to Dan Cope, I gave him a call, I had a couple questions, and he answered those satisfactorily, so.
And, yeah, everybody else was comfortable with it, I'm good. I move that we accept Carly Nelson as a construction manager, or accept their agreement for the public health building.
Second.
Sarah?
Shane McCampbell,
Yep.
Tom Broker,
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes. And all three of you don't.
Just a quick side note to that, I did talk to Dan yesterday too, we're gonna be getting together to send out the RFQ for architect and engineering services here pretty soon, so.
Good. We're on the road.
Yeah, we're moving.
We got, application for the Beer Mart liquor and beer license renewal. Sheriff Glendenning, do you have any problem with this?
No issues out there at all.
Move to approve.
Second.
Sarah?
Shane McCampbell,
Yep.
Tom Broker,
Yep.
Jim Carrey.
Yes. Next, we have the annual fireworks display permit for the J&M display. Any problem there, Sheriff Glendenning?
No issues at all. Good relationship with them. We toured their facility just recently. They took us all through it and they run a good operation.
Yeah.
I move to approve annual fireworks display permit for J&M Displays.
Everything's in order here, so.
Second.
Sarah?
Shane McCampbell,
Yes, please.
Tom Broker,
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes. Now we have a contract with border cleaning for the maintenance department. And that takes care of the courthouse and also the county sheriff and county attorney's office and public health department. So, Rodney, do you want to elaborate on this?
No, it's just kind of an annual agreement. They're doing a really good job, so I'm really happy with what they're doing. So it was just about a 1.5% increase from last year, which they didn't increase last year from the previous year. So we would recommend approval for those.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Sarah?
Tom Broker,
Yes.
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes. We have a resolution for the compensation board salary recommendations for fiscal year 22 and 23.
I know you guys were, you just got through union negotiations to try to keep a uniform increase, or as uniform as we can keep it across the county. So if we reduce those recommendations by 45%, that would bring the elected officials and their statutory deputies all within 0.1% of where the unions ended up at. I believe that's 3.85%. And put the sheriff, I think, at 11. And Danny Cahill mentioned his lobbyist, so.
Yeah.
Somebody's gotta pay that.
So I would make a motion that we reduce all those by 45%.
Second.
Sarah?
Tom Broker,
Yes.
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes.
Yeah, somebody said, I read in the Hawkeye where you're not giving anybody any money in the county, but you guys are trying to give yourselves a huge raise. I said, you read that in the Hawkeye? I said, we never said that.
I wasn't here.
I don't blame you, bro.
Bob was on Route 66.
And he's got a calendar to prove.
Okay, moving on to proposed new hires, step increases for fiscal year of 23. Okay, this is proposed salary increase.
Sure, anything you touch on, Cheryl?
I don't know how you guys wanna do it, you don't have to do a vote for each and every one, I mean, a roll call type vote. You could just discuss it and say whether you're in favor of it or not. We're just holding this in a public meeting so that it's more
Okay.
public to, you know.
Sure.
Public to, yeah, Jim, do you wanna just read off each one and then you guys discuss each one and? Is that how you wanna do it?
Yeah, proposed salary increases, for the accounts, at the auditor's office, for the accounts payable deputy, is, current salary is $54,935.20. Salary request, $56,400. The increase is $1,400.64. No, it's not, $1,460. $1,464.80.
There you go.
Yeah. And with FICA and IPERS insurance, the total is $1,715.13. The auditor, clerk one, election coordinator.
You wanna go through it, do you want to vote on
Yeah, let's do each
those
one.
for each one?
Okay.
Okay. I'll go yes on the first one.
Yes, yeah, I'm good with that.
Do we?
Jim, what are you?
Yes.
Okay.
The second one is the clerk one, election coordinator. Current salary is $38,361.41, with the salary request $47,612, which is an increase of $9,250.59, and with FICA and IPERS, it comes out to a total of $10,831.52.
I'll vote yes again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know if you, I didn't know what you were asking, but yeah, I'm good on that.
The attorney assistants, senior ACA.
Can we do all those?
Yes.
Because it's just one office and.
Yep, you can do it all
Appreciate
together.
those. She changed her salary structure a little bit so that she could keep attorneys and, anyway. So we'll just do all the attorneys at once.
Just do all the attorneys at once, okay. Read each one off then separate. Carol?
Or you can just vote on it, I mean just
read the
Yeah.
numbers, the numbers are available.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Just,
okay.
Yeah.
So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attorneys we're voting on. So what's your gentleman's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And then we have one for the sheriff, clerk 2 to clerk 1.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. These numbers will be available to you.
Oh, there's one more.
Oh,
Network.
poor IT guy down there, sitting down there at the bottom, they didn't have you highlighted.
This is a new hire that, Collins waited some time for. I think it's, I'm gonna vote yes.
I do too.
Yeah.
Colin, that's here,
What they need.
long time coming. Okay, that's all voted for. Okay, now we need an approval. We voted, so it's all approved. Requested,
we need
bond
a
project.
motion to approve them all though?
We need a motion to approve. I don't think we ever make a motion. We just go through in the past and just say yes or no.
Yes or no, and then we.
We've never made a motion
Yeah.
to approve all of them.
Okay.
We could do this in a work session, honestly, until the law changes, but
Yeah.
we do it in a public meeting, just
The,
to be a step ahead of the law changes.
one thing I bring up, it's a little different than the, budget hearings, is on, we've got a different project on there. We had, the insurance didn't go up, so we had some, savings, and we've got a jail rehabilitation that's probably, I believe the siding is the worst, isn't it, Rodney? That needs to be addressed, and hopefully the roofing. Anyway, so we've got a jail rehabilitation on there for $550,000. So that,
Okay, the request for bond project for 2023. For the sheriff's department, we ordered squad cars. And, what's your?
yes.
I vote yes. Shane?
Yes.
Okay, for IT, I'm gonna just go down the line here on IT, because, we've got a lot of it for IT, things are changing in that technology and everything. We have Tyler Property Management and Cashiering. We have Tyler Eagle Recorder, Tyler Encode, Department Switches Upgrade, 3 of them. Courthouse Firewall and Security License, 2 of them. Jail Security Cameras, Server, and Storage. Remote Site Firewall and Security License. New Computer Replacements. Web redesign and jail rehabilitation. Whoops, excuse me, that comes down under maintenance, I'm sorry. And web design, Tom already covered the jail rehabilitation. So,
I would point out on the website redesign, that pays for itself in 3 years. We're paying $10,000 a year to maintain the one we have. And if we do this, it only costs $2,000 a year. So it'll pay for itself in 5 years. So I'm a yes on all of them.
Yes.
yes.
Yeah, you'll be soon
Now we're
catching
gonna-
up with all your friends.
Yeah.
We have maintenance capital project, move the line of credit with the West Bend Security, Bob Green, and the health insurance. The total,
Do we want to vote on that jail rehabilitation?
do we,
No, I said we should vote on that.
We
jail
should
re-
vote on that?
Yeah, we, well, like, it's on there, and I've talked, and I know you guys have talked to Rodney, but it's on the list, so.
jail rehabilitation, okay, I vote yes.
Oh, yeah.
I vote yes.
Okay. So the maintenance, capital project, move to line of credit, and ICAP, West Bend.
Yeah, ICAP and West Bend and the health insurance, we can't vote, that's what they're gonna bill us for.
Yeah,
But I'll vote yes on the maintenance, the capital project.
yeah. Yes. So that is it, gentlemen. Okay, now we have a resolution. Approving allocation for ARP funds to the Moines County Conservation. Whereas, March the 11th, 2021, President Biden signed $109 trillion American Rescue Plan Act, and whereas the Moines County applied for and will receive $7,568,844 total in 2 transactions. The first tranche of funds is for the American Rescue Act totaling $3,784,422 has been received, and the second half will be received in 2022. Whereas the Des Moines County Board of Supervisors has reviewed county projects and request and determined that the funds will be used on county projects. Whereas based on the distribution guidelines from the U.S. Department of Treasury, the following project has been approved for the use of said funds. Des Moines County Conservation should implement various park improvements. Be it resolved that the Des Moines County Board of Supervisors endorses distributions of American Rescue Act funds for the items listed and authorize auditor to make this payment as presented.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Sarah?
Tom Broker,
Yes.
Shannon Campbell,
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes.
This is the one I've been waiting for.
Yeah, with Brian up front.
Okay, we're gonna move on to approve the contract rock documents.
You get 2 documents, Jim, both of them are contracts. We did this in a bid opening here, I don't remember what the date was, a couple weeks ago, let's say, a week ago, something like that. Got the contract with L&W, who was low bidder on most of the roads. And then Dowd's for the balance, which is the small amount that's south of Burlington. L&W's contract, if I have it right on my end, because you have the 2 originals, is $193,502. And then Dowd's is $45,302.50. Tally those up, you are sitting at 238,814.5. I would note, because Cheryl and I have been working on this, it's when you see your budgeting numbers that we've updated, it won't be quite a match to that because there's a small amount of tonnage on South Prairie Grove that I actually pay for because by the time you run your trucks up and down South Prairie Grove, I gotta rock the north end to take the beating. So I actually extend that rock through the north end of South Prairie Grove, because I end up stuck doing it anyway. So I actually pay for that out of our budget. So when you see that, you'll see about $11,000 difference, so.
Can I ask Brian a question? If one of our trucks sideswipes a car, is it the supervisor's liability?
Personally, in fact, we mentioned all three personally on the
Joined
insurance.
in several.
We go ahead and note Mrs. Broker also.
That'll cheer her up.
So, anyway, the other thing I'd mention is this is about 10% increase, and with where we're at over the last, this is a every 2 year thing, I think that's very reasonable, to be honest with you. I have to give credit to them, it was a competitive process. Well, if you look at the third set of bids, they weren't competitive, but they didn't get anything. So I give them credit, because I think when you look at the price of rock goes up every year, and then you look at diesel being more expensive than 2 years ago, I think that's pretty reasonable. So, and I do want to give credit where credit's due. This program that the board, of course, funds out of Rural Basic, allows us in our yearly rocking program, there's roughly the equivalent amount of roads that are low volume roads out on the general gravel road network, that allows us to go ahead and rock those every 2 years with our rest of our every 2 year rocking system. And if the board didn't take this on, those mileage, which I don't have off the top of my head, I apologize, really would have to fit in somewhere that we don't have money for. So what this really does is frees our manpower and our rock supplies up that we already have to rock those roads every other year like we do the rest of the county. And I believe it's making a difference. I think as far as our rocking program, it makes a big difference, so.
Essentially, every gravel road in the county gets rocked at least every other year.
Minimum every other year. And then these roads that are on here get rocked every year, but they're also our dust control roads and obviously our heavier traffic roads also. So I want to give credit to that, so. Anyway, other than that, I'd recommend approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Sarah?
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Tom Broker.
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a resolution approving the Derbyshire minor subdivision.
Well, fortunately for you all, it's a pretty simple one here today. Basically, you have a 40-acre property near Yarmouth. Most of it is farmland. And then there's also a trucking business and a house. And a couple of years ago, they had the trucking business surveyed off, which could be done with the first split without a subdivision. But then they came back with a second plat with the splitting off the house, and of course that triggers the need for a subdivision according to our ordinance. So that's what this constitutes. It's basically just splitting off about 1.5 acres with the existing house. And the only significant comment we got was from Secondary Roads noting that they would need to use the same access, which they clearly intend to, with the existing driveway for the house. So it's a pretty simple one, and recommend approval of Derbyshire subdivision.
I move to approve.
Second.
Sarah?
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Tom Broker.
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sheriff.
Here, sign these after.
That's fine.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, moving on, we have a personnel action. Maintenance department for Alex Nedler. It's a 6-month step increase. Previous rate $29,245.66. The new rate $33,937.48.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Sarah?
Tom Broker.
Yes.
Shane McCampbell,
Yep.
Jim Carrey.
Yes. We have reports. We have the Cost Advisory Service Allocation Plan fiscal year 2021 and Southeast Iowa Regional Planning Commission annual report for 2021. These reports will be on file in the auditor's office for your viewing at your own discretion. Heavy reports. Okay, we have the minutes for the regular meeting, February the 8th, 2022.
Move to approve. Second.
Sarah?
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Tom Broker,
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes. We have any other business?
I have
I have none. Future agenda items.
the resolution for next week for the sanctuary county. Where I got that, yeah. Go on
And
that.
I'll have to, add our information onto that, your signature lines and all that stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll probably end up retyping it into our format.
That's fine, it's just a copy of a copy of a copy that counties have been passing.
Committee reports.
I attended the Southeast Iowa Mental Health and Disability Services Region Governing Board meeting, and we approved claims, and then there was some discussion of the CO region policies, and Road Grader Burlington had a meeting earlier this morning, and they previewed their new website, and they had someone there from BHS to give a presentation on the career education opportunities they've got at Burlington High School. It's they've got some nice programs out there. That's all I have.
I had a Russ meeting. I think I called Cheryl afterwards. They forgot to send the bills out for our dues last July, so did we receive them, Cheryl?
We,
Yeah.
yeah, we got a bill.
So, basically, that's all the good news.
They forgot.
Found. I hope we drew interest on that money, you know. I mean, you take 7 counties, $8,000 a county, that's a little bit of money.
They must not need it.
Flush with cash over there.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, no, and then, our new pump truck, it's new to us, but the pump truck, they had it all stenciled up, it looks good, you know, so we're pumping our own, sewers, you know, that needs to be pumped. That's gonna save quite a little bit of money, so. Outside of that, I didn't have anything else. So, okay, we have a public input session. Anybody from the public, we'll give you 2 minutes to speak. You can call in at 319-753-8203. That's 319-753-8203. Or email board@dmcounty.com. That's board@dmcounty.com. Does anybody have a public comment here? Here? Nope. We'll give you 2 minutes.
Hey Jim, where did you say you saw the flags at in Middletown? Like towards the west end, over
No, I
towards?
say between Middletown and Danville.
Yeah, towards the west side of Middletown, or was it over, like in between, not even in Middletown?
It's not in Middletown.
Oh, okay.
It's in the county. It's in the county. There's 2 different places.
Old 34?
Hole 34.
Yep.
There's two different places.
I was just wondering if it was over closer to Middletown, because we do have a utility permit for a line for their, some new gas line through there.
Well, I don't know what this is. There's two different places, and it looked to me like there might be culverts under there. One from the other side, I don't know.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it could be a number of things. I just was curious, because we do have a permit for our line gas, so.
Yeah.
Can you tell what it is by the color of the flag? I mean, does a gas pipeline have a different than a?
You can. You can't tell the company unless they have the actual name of their company printed on the flag, because you could have multiple, if you have multiple fiber optic lines, they're probably gonna be the same color, is my point. They all have different color codes. The other thing is you don't know if it's the company that's doing the work that threw some flags out, or if they called locates in. And all the utility companies are putting their locate flags out for the areas that they've been requested. So we'll keep an eye on, is what I'll tell you. I just wanted to see.
Well, I just noticed it this morning coming in, so.
There's, like I said, there's a lot of utility work in the county right now, so.
Talk about colored flags, you gotta get so much not colorblind to see them. Some of them flags, them orange flags look red or whatever color, and
Yeah, we have, one of my superintendents is colorblind, actually to red. So we write everything in red.
yeah.
Just,
Back years ago, when Bob was a kid, I know of kids that would move some stuff like that.
Yeah. Can't imagine that.
Color that long ago? I thought everything was black and white.
I'd say when Bob was a kid, there's a lot of things missing.
Okay, the 2 minutes are up, so with an aye, we're out of here. We do have a work session coming up with Cheryl. And give us about 5 minutes. Thank you. Aye.
and Rodney and Brian for your personnel evaluations. And so you guys know what to put in your line items.
Okay.
And we need to get that done sooner rather than later, right, Jim?
Yep.
I think they're
Yep.
scheduled for
Yep.
Tuesday, right?
Yep, they'll be on next Tuesday's agenda.
Okay, okay.
I've already emailed all three of them, and they're okay with that.
And it might be, I know you have to ask them, you know, they have to request a closed session.
They have to request it.
So can we, if we schedule it toward the end of the meeting, you know, can we ask them all together? Do they want a closed session? Or can each one of them request a closed session and then go into it? In other words, so we don't have people waiting out here before the meeting's over and have it toward the end of the meeting?
We've always done it after the meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Do I need to
does
list
it
it
need,
differently on the agenda?
fine, maybe we do that. I'm just saying, but if you gotta ask for it to be a closed session, you have to do that during the
I
open meeting.
request a closed session.
And it's not an open meeting now.
Well,
So-
we usually reference the Iowa code for that
Yeah,
section.
but you have to do that during the meeting. So then if we reference it, if they request a closed hearing, can we just adjourn the meeting and then have it afterward? Or do we have to come back out of the meeting and adjourn it after we've
I think you
had?
have to do it the same way
We
you
have
would
to come
any other
back out
closed
and
session.
adjourn.
So we have to come out and back out and
Yeah.
adjourn.
Mhm.
But I would put them at the end.
Okay, so we'll add all three of them at the end.
And when we get to that, if each one of you will say, you know, I'd like to request a closed session,
Assuming you want.
assuming you want a closed session.
Okay.
And then we'll go have closed sessions and we can tell everybody that, go ahead and go, we're just gonna, then we'll come back and say, you know, that
Okay, who
we've
wants to be
completed the
first?
personnel evaluation.
Rodney, you number one, then Colin, and then, well, I guess since you've got a work session. Or your-
Brian's will take the longest, we know that.
Well, because.
We aren't gonna be doing the 5-year plan. Have you set your 5-year plan?
Unless we miss about 5 years.
Something to look forward to. Something to look forward to. You've never seen a room of people clear out any paths.
I'll put 3 names in a
You
hat.
don't wanna call you.
I really don't care, it doesn't matter to me.
Like
When I call
like
it.
a skunk comes
Anybody's
in.
got a problem.
Get on the file out.
Everybody runs.
Crowd on balls back there.
I told you $83. I thought at that time, I thought we'd already got that $8,000 check, or we'd already paid it.
Yeah.
Paid it then.
Yeah, they hadn't even billed us yet, so without the bill, we don't pay it, so I'm glad you figured that out. Or they might have went a whole year without payment.
I can't figure out how that wouldn't have registered, somebody has to do their books.
Yeah.
Say
Well, then she
you're,
quit,
you're-
she got a different job or
you're out of
something.
cash.
Yeah, but that just was, that's just been since first year.
So what was she doing before that?
I don't think she was,
Preparing for retirement.
I can't prepare for that new job she took.
that's not chicken feed, you know, especially with an operation like what we're dealing with there.
I have it on my Outlook calendar to remind me about 5 different times, you know, send the billing, send the billing.
Yeah. Well, if we're gonna do that, then there isn't anything else.
I guess the only thing is to ask everybody to update your budgets with new information.
And check your emails today, because Terry will be sending an email out that is gonna affect your totals on your budget for salary line items for everybody
Oh,
in the county
the 27
versus
27
26
week
pay
versus
periods.
the accrued, yes.
So if anybody has any questions when they get that email, you can call Sarah, we work with Sarah on it, or Terry or I. But your numbers will go up again, and it'll all be explained in the email, so.
So will the email have what the union percentages are, because I have no idea what they are.
3.75 for this
Three,
year.
all
No-
four unions
Nobody
get
sent me nothing, so I don't know what they are to put in.
3.75.
Okay.
We just settled that what was that, Thursday, Friday? One of them.
Thursday.
Was it Thursday?
Yeah.
A week ago Thursday.
No, it's been a week, it's been over a week.
Time flies by when you're having fun.
Well, if not last week, week before, wasn't
It was that first week?
Well, I
Yeah,
think
it was that first week.
it? Yeah,
Was it?
So I think it was a week ago Thursday.
yeah, it was a week ago last Thursday.
I guess time does fly.
So we have a new bonding attorney, so we need to get with him, get some resolutions, public hearings set for the bonds. For the bond, we're gonna do it all under one bond, right? I mean, there'll be multiple bonds, but one line of credit, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So are you gonna get with Danville? Stays the same?
That won't be a problem.
Okay.
And then what do I do with conservation since they approved? I mean, is that gonna be writing a check to conservation, or how does that take place? The ARPA funds?
Oh, for the ARPA funds?
You won't have, I won't need that money for a while.
Okay, so you will
Because-
submit something when you need it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've got the, now that I have the resolution, I can include that with my grant applications.
Okay.
And, depending on how the grants shake out, it might not be until, we might be looking at late 23.
We gotta spend it before
Probably.
2026.
Yeah, probably 2024, depending on if I get that Land Water Conservation Fund grant, that's a federal grant. And then I gotta go through the whole NEPA process and archaeology and that kind of stuff to clear all that. And it should just be rubber stamped because it's all been done, but you know how the feds are, so.
Okay. So we'll just sit on that until we hear from you then?
Yeah, and it's one of those deals, I can't spend it until I got all the boxes checked, because then I
Because you
can't.
that- you can't use that as a match for the walk-on.
Exactly, yeah.
When does that money go out for Danville telecom, telco, whatever?
We've already got their grant,
That money hasn't gone out yet.
That's another one, you know, whenever we agree to give this, you know, do we get something from them, or do we just go off the
Well, he
resolution?
sent us a, we've got a memorandum of agreement.
Gotta have the invoice or something to pay on that.
Yeah, because I would think, yeah, we gotta have something to,
that,
And I don't know if
it
that
was- I
memorandum
think it's the
of
same thing,
understanding-
or contract or memorandum, whatever it was, it's the same thing he's got, because he got grant money from Henry County, or ARPA money. So anyway, so I think it's the same form, or same, it's
I
been
could-
about
I
3
guess I
weeks or a
could-
month since I've seen it.
I
and,
guess I can ask him.
I can't recreate that in my mind, I got all sorts of crap floating around in here. It's not that funny, that way.
Terry, do we need a
we
resolution
went
or
after
anything about
one
the
grant,
phone system?
ended up getting two.
Well, yeah, he applied for
Was that
two
not
from the
included
state,
on
he
the
didn't think he was gonna get both of them,
Yeah.
because he got the one for
Well,
Des Moines and
we
Henry County, and then he got a
missed
bigger
that
one
one.
from Lee County.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have
guys.
a grand total or anything for it yet, no, so.
I think we missed something on one of our resolutions for the ARPA funds, because the phone system was not listed on there.
I don't think when we were doing that, we didn't have a number.
No, I don't have a grand total.
Well,
for it.
none of our items had a number except for conservation and the telephone company.
Oh, you didn't have the one, well, but
Yeah.
you've got numbers for the for digitization though, don't you?
Yeah,
You just
we
listed
did, but
that
we
you
didn't
were.
have them listed on there. We didn't have the totals listed on there, on the resolution. We just said for.
Oh, the resolution that
Yeah,
you're just
but-
paying for that didn't say
But
what.
obviously, we missed the telephone. So
Well,
we might have to do another
Another
ARPA
resolution.
resolution.
We'll have to end up doing a number of resolutions.
Yeah, to address the new phone system. So, thank you, Colin, for pointing that out, so.
So do
we'll
you
have
want,
another resolution.
just wait until I get like a total for that, or?
Tim said that one.
That's-
We didn't have,
But we have,
Amount
that
monies
when
on
I called you
everything
and told you to call that,
and since this is a.
John Jackson or John
county
whatever it
project.
was, you know, he called and it came up, showed up on my phone, I
I
got
just
two
assumed I had
email,
to have like a total for it.
Yeah, well,
voicemails.
we'll
First one
probably
said
just
Shane.
put it in as for the new county phone
John,
system.
John called me at such and such a number. Anyway, so then.
Did he cuss you after he said shit?
No, he just left a message, and then the next one, it says, Tom, please call me at such and such a number, so and so I called John, I said, this guy, and I don't know how to make the new phones will tell us when an email comes in, hopefully, because now you don't know what day it is.
I'm still getting calls from.
It just shows up as a new email, or a new voicemail.
As to when you got the voicemail?
Yeah,
Oh, it's when you got the email. So it's
Well, no, the
Oh,
ones
the
that show up
current
on the phone, because some of them show up on my email, some of them show up on the phone, but it doesn't say it came in Monday or Wednesday or an hour ago or 6 days
Oh,
ago.
okay.
It just, at least I can't find it on there.
Okay.
You can look at it.
Yeah,
I've got
I've looked at that, so.
I've got my favorite voicemail saved.
Okay.
It's several years old. Every time I'm having a hard day, I just play it again. Somebody called unhappy about the condition of his road and with ideas about what to do with Brian.
I'm just a pygmy.
I can see where that would entertain you. I feel like we should listen to that.
It's available.
And back to the appointment letters that Sarah's working on. It's a standardized form of appointment letters, so everybody doesn't randomly do their own thing, because we need to have it detailed because of that 27 pay period. And
There's a
that's what we're
certain
addressing in that
accrual amount you'll have to add into the salary because we have an extra payroll in the month, or in the fiscal year 23.
So there's a great deal of thought and discussion.
It's not gonna work.
I know, but
I think Sarah's
just
still
wonder about
figuring
the
it all out
numbers.
for you, so you know.
Yeah, so I will have everybody's, according to their last salary in June, I will have everybody's accrual amount for you. I have it all figured out now. It's just if anybody has a pay increase between now and June, whenever it
Oh, yeah.
goes into effect, then I'll have to change it accordingly, but I have everybody's departments figured out.
Okay.
So I will get that all to you guys as well.
Alrighty.
This 27
Not nice
period
kids.
thing, you're gonna,
They
in a region and
got me
tell
on a
them,
Zoom call and
each
and,
one of you are gonna have 2
ask
weeks
me
of pay
questions.
that's gonna be paid out
That's what I
on
thought.
July 1st for
They
the
like
previous
that.
fiscal year. You will have no money left in Fund 10.
I told them a couple things they didn't know.
So
About
your
how things
region's
work.
gonna have to budget for that.
Hey, Jim, are we officially adjourned?
That's area.
Are we officially adjourned?
Yeah, I don't know if we ever even said we were
Yeah,
going.
I'm not sure we started the
I started the recorder because you guys.
Cheryl, can't we just close the county down for a week? Avoid that whole issue and just close the county.
That's
That's what the university did when they were having that issue.
It's going all over, conversations all over.
I know that some counties in our region just pay out